Hi, here viewers of Equinoxe Television. It's time for the news. Thank you so much for joining us. To begin right away with our major stories. Cooking gas is now a very precious commodity. It is now an uphill task to get a bottle of domestic gas. It is now very scarce in most cities across the national territory, and those who are affected by the scarcity of cooking gas are housewives. We will be telling you more in this newscast because the price of a bottle of gas has reportedly skyrocketed. And also in this newscast, we will be taking you to Boya in the southwest region where arms and ammunition have been uncovered by security forces. Those are our major stories. Stay with us for details and more. Welcome back, viewers. We now take you right away to the southwest region, precisely in Kumba, where at least 6 families have been rendered homeless after their houses were razed in a fire incident. Our reporter Jikan Gabriel in the report which comes up next tells us that material damage is enormous and also shops were razed or ravished in that inferno.
A sad day at the Up Station neighborhood in Kumba 1 subdivision, Meme division of the southwest region. An inferno whose origin is still not determined has destroyed more than 6 rooms.
I
was just called to come and put off the matter that it was on fire. On coming, I was with a stick, not knowing the fire was behind the apartment constructed out of makeshift materials. We tried calling the army rescue soldiers, but while waiting for them, we managed to pack out some few things before they could come.
Nobody no be there where they get for help. Nobody no be there. And are there for lockdown. Population no be for stations. You know the big. Because if not they wait people ready fast, they can see a fire start with the start. That's what people are not fit for explain anything when it happen.
All the rooms had tenants, with some doing little business. Unfortunately, everything got destroyed as a result of the inferno.
The whole place on burn.
Before I could arrive, everything has been consumed by the flames. I only thank God because nobody died. We've lost everything we had. Even a place to sleep is not available for now. The money we had was all consumed by the fire.
Even small things, so even coin, no more for day. No. Don't burn all.
The tenants were not around when the incident occurred, as all of them were in their farmland. Sources say most of the tenants were internally displaced persons who recently started life after running away from their crisis-hit localities.
We stay in the southwest region. This time around, we come to Boya. We told you in the headlines that arms and ammunition have been uncovered by security forces in Boya. It was during a joint military operation in Boya, precisely at the Mukundange village, which led to the arrest of at least 8 persons, as Jikan Gabriel once again tells us in the report which comes up next.
It was a joint military operation that took Mukunda village in Boya town of the southwest region by storm. At the head of this operation was Colonel Louis Onambele, commander of the 21st Infantry Motorized Battalion of Boya. Their mission was to dismantle a local gun manufacturing house serving as a mechanic workshop in the locality. Within this mechanic workshop, old and recently made Dane guns, car batteries, and binoculars alongside military belts and boots were discovered. Not too far from the mechanic workshop at another resident in the same Mukunda village, several packs of tramadol, boots, a locally made pistol, and 2 red caps usually worn by titled men were discovered by the military officers.
Took some suspect that are carrying traditional weapons, and we have a factory and that we discover in that quarter. And as you know, we took some suspect, and they will be presented to the collegium so that the normal procedure concerning the judiciary way should be carried on.
In a whole, 50 arms, with 9 of them operational, 8 car batteries, 2 boots, 1 army bag, 3 cameras, 19 mobile phones, 1 iron cask, and 5 army belts were taken away by the military officers. Meanwhile, more than 8 persons have been taken for interrogation by the joint operation.
Thanks, Smartphones. That reports from the Southwest region. Now we come back to Douala to move on to this very sad news element. A man has been arrested and detained for allegedly sexually abusing 9 young boys in Besengate. He is a locality here in the economic capital, Douala, and the arrest of Mohammed was after an alert from the local population. A reporter for me, Armstrong Sander, tells us more.
In an innocent but shocking revelation, one of the victims, 10 years old, says Mohammed lured him and friends into a room, promised them a telephone, gave them cooked rice, which he ate, fell asleep. Then Mohammed got him naked and sodomized. The 10-year-old is one of the 9 young boys reported to have been sodomized by 25-year-old Mohammed, their private teacher in the Besenge neighborhood of the city of Douala, now detained at the 4th Police District in Douala.
I say, the boy of 20-something years, he can't take small picking and for 10 years, 9 years, he not correct.
An act which he has been involved in for over 2 years, according to locals and victims who say they were threatened by Mohammed not to speak out.
Since that day for night, we hear saying 9 picking them.
Locals, victims and family members say Mohammed pleaded guilty before being taken away by police officials to the 4th Police District, where he is currently detained.
And now we take you to this other news element in the northern parts of the country. Heavy floods has rendered several persons homeless in Kuseri, in the far north region of Cameroon. The whole of Madagascar neighborhood is in flood. Water from the lagoon and Shari River is flowing across the area on high speed. The huge volume of water has forced the inhabitants out of their homes. Efforts are on the way to rescue the victims. And now we told you on the headlines, domestic gas or cooking gas is said to be a very precious commodity now, almost in most parts of the national territory, and the price of cooking gas is said to have skyrocketed. Our reporter Mala Glory now tells us the situation and what actually is the problem.
In the economic capital Douala, to get a bottle or even a refill of domestic gas is considered as a real achievement. A difficult situation which has caused inconvenience in many households. This man, just like many others, say he has gone for days without a filled gas bottle. I have searched for gas bottle for 3 days now to no avail. The shortage has resulted to frequent price hike on domestic cooking gas, which has also created a black market in the sector. I have seen someone buying the bottle of gas at 8,000 francs. Many gathered at the gas depot located at Carrefour Ajib to buy, but yet it was limited in supply. As this man says, he had to queue up at the sales point in Bonaberi to get one. It is almost 2 days that I've been in search of gas everywhere in this town. Then today, when I was passing around Bonaberi, I came across a sales point. Despite the number of people, I had to queue up to get one. To get a gas bottle in the town of Douala is a whole task. The authorities in charge of distribution attribute this scarcity to the 2019 fire incident at the National Petroleum Company in Cameroon and the war in Ukraine.
In other news, the Douala City Council and the Douala One Council are reportedly disputing a piece of land in the city of Douala. The Douala One Council says the land was for the construction of a supermarket to promote culture. Let's now have more about that land dispute between the Douala One Council and the Douala City Council with our reporter Lucy Liengu Esie.
A piece of land of about 20 meters square earmarked for the construction of a sociocultural gallery in Kumasi neighborhood by the Douala One Council.
Vous savez, ce projet s'inscrit dans le...
This is a follow-up of a project that has started in our council for the construction of a gallery market on the streets of Kumasi, which will help fight against urban disorder, delinquency, and participate in beautifying the town of Kumasi.
La présence des délinquants nous ont fortement été signalée ici.
Unfortunately, the realization of this project is caught up in a fight between the Douala City Council and the Douala One Council. While the Douala City Council says the project should not proceed, the Douala One Council say they were served an authorization to construct on the piece of land by the senior divisional officer of Wuri Division.
Le marché a été contractualisé.
The market was contextualized according to the rules before reaching the physical executions. So many actors were involved, like the senior divisional officer of Wuri and the mayor of the Douala One Council. They also thought of the maturity of this project and its realization. The budget was registered in our council. We don't understand the reason the city council asked for works to stop when we are at the verge of realizing the project.
À la validation de ce projet.
Speaking to Equinoxe of Camara, the Douala City Council says the Douala One Council did not have any authorization, that the construction was done without their knowledge.
And now we move over to Limbe to meet David Sinmaimo, who tells us that the Assistant State Council in Limbe has said that a customary court has no powers to resolve issues of criminal offense. Yinjo Clovis was speaking during the swearing-in ceremony of some officials of the customary court. Let's now have more with you, David Sinmaimo.
To better reduce the numerous minor civil offences brought to the police stations and gendarmerie brigades in Limbe, the Minister of Justice and Keeper of the Seal has activated another customary court in Limbe, the Batoke Customary Court under the Batoke Chiefdom, after that of Limbe Central under the Paramount Chief.
To equally reduce the load of the court and even the forces of law and order, is going to reduce their assignment.
The Batoke Customary Court, just as that of Limbe Central, according to Limbe Deputy State Council, has as mandate to assist the judiciary in solving minor civil offences and traditional related issues.
You know, the customary court is competent to try some matter like in heritage, civil matters, cases of witchcraft, tradition, the respect of cultural customary value. That is the area of competence.
The President, Chief Otto, says the team selected is up to the task.
With the nature of the population which I'm going to serve, I think I'm going to liaise with most of my colleagues too, who are from other cultural background, so that if matters come that concerns their people, they are going to advise me on what to do.
Squeeze on possible conflict the two customary courts may have with the various traditional councils of each village, Chief Henry Fonderson says the law is the law and rights of clients shall be respected.
All of us are guided by the same laws. You know, where a chiefdom might not be able to resolve, parties have the right to go to customary court. And where the customary court does not resolve, they have the right to appeal, you know, to a higher court. So there's no clash.
The Batoke Customary Court that shall cover Limbe 2 and West Coast Subdivision respectively, it is expected shall bring peace among the people of Limbe 2 and West Coast, as unnecessary security detention shall be reduced.
And from Limbe, we move over to the Northwest Regional Headquarters of Bamenda. In the Northwest region in general, where local authorities have expressed some challenges in that crisis-hit region. Most local authorities are demanding special consideration from the state as a revenue collection in the entire Northwest region is almost at a halt. Let's now have more with Ngustela.
Almost halfway into their 5-year mandate, the major challenge of municipal authorities in the Northwest region has been the collection of local revenue. In the Kumbo municipality, the mayor, Borong Venashe, says the Kumbo Council has lost approximately 1.2 billion francs CFA in local revenue since the start of the armed conflict.
The temporary bridges and the water schemes that the communities are engaged in is simply government subvention. So it is not easy to depend solely on government subvention when Kumbo is a municipality that would have a tax, which has a tax base which is really very robust, but we are unable to access it.
In the Tuba municipality, the mayor has embarked on the selling of shops at the Bamboo market so as to recover over 34 million francs owed in rents by the over 200 shop owners since 2020.
Operation have been motivated by non-payment of council rents in the council market. For the past 10 years, a dime have not been paid to the council.
Shop owners who prefer to speak off record say the economic situations have been worsened by the over 5 years armed conflict and the phenomenon of middlemen who collect 10,000 francs from them as rent but do not pay at the council. These have put the municipal authorities and the population in a situation of conflict where the population believe the revenue collected has not been used to better their living conditions, while the municipal authorities say they have not been given enough by the institutions in place.
We think that as other regions in the country that have faced crisis before, we should receive some special consideration from the government, given that our revenue situation is near zero. We should have at least something to, even just to pay salaries.
Thus, the fact-finding mission from the Senate and the National Assembly were told that councils in the conflict-hit Northwest region be given special considerations.
It is a priority for us to look into the financial difficulties of the municipal authorities as soon as we get.
The team, led by Honorable Mbangmi, left Bamenda with suggestions which, if given attention, according to the participants, will better the services they render to the population.
And now we take you to the Central region, precisely in the Nyong and Ekele division, where the inhabitants of Musondo say they have a problem of farm to market roads. They complain that life is very hard in that locality because it is very difficult for them to transport their farm produce from their farms to the markets. Let's now have more with our reporter Innocent Aze.
About 25 to 35% of the youthful population of Mesondo in the Nyohankele division of the Central region are out of school because of poverty and difficult living conditions. Some are idle, while others prefer to inject themselves into agriculture or bike riding for livelihoods and fees.
Here for more than 12 years, 12 years, we are doing on agriculture. We have a lot of difficulties there.
They say the manpower is there, but are strangulated by numerous challenges, like impassable roads from their farms to the Mesondo train station, lack of a local market, as they only wait for a train to transport their farm produce to markets in other communities.
This fruit that we are moving here like this, if the train did not come at time, we will not have where to transport it. And the motorbike that remove it from the farm and put it here, all the routes are equal. So we are feeling very, very difficulties here, and we have the crops here enough. The way of transportation is that what is worrying us.
Even the outputs are low because animals usually eat up their crops on the farm.
Ça nous cause beaucoup du tort. On n'a pas plus de possibilités de l'élever normalement parce que d'une part les animaux se mangent.
Despite these challenges, they manage to generate little income from exorbitant costs to meet their needs.
Je parviens quand même à rester avec au moins 8 000 francs le paquet. Si j'ai 10 paquets comme ça, ça me revient à 80 000.
These Mesondo youths, however, pleads on the municipal authorities to come to their aid by creating a local market and construct passable farm-to-market roads. They also plead on the Ministry of Agriculture to support them in their agricultural venture to become great entrepreneurs.
And now onto this obituary. Sorrow grieves the inhabitants of Bakoko and the Littoral region in general following the disappearance of the traditional ruler Solomon Madiba. The 69-year-old politician and also traditional ruler gave up the ghost yesterday at the Lakentini Hospital. Our reporter Immaculate Fogwe comes back to the life of the traditional ruler Solomon Madiba.
The passing away of His Majesty Solomon Madiba, paramount ruler of the Bakoko, one of the 5 clans of the Wari, has been qualified as a great loss to the Sawa people and the Littoral region in general. The monarch of Bakoko ruled over 7 villages, namely Buan, Japoma, Banga, Ngodi, Yassa, Yansoki, and Yachika. We are sad because we have lost an uncle, brother, and father. He was my father and even my maternal uncle. May his soul rest in peace. The chief has not died, he just traveled. The first-class chief is the president of the renowned Gondo Traditional Festival. He was appointed senator in 2013, a position he held until his death. The member of the Common People Democratic Movement CPDM party joined his ancestors on Monday 17th of August at the Douala Lakentini Hospital at the age of 69.
May his soul rest in peace. And now we take you out of the country, viewers. The war in Ukraine is still very far to be over as gunshots are heard every day, and recently the bodies of several ladies were found in the streets. Let's now have more with our partners of Euronews.
Kyiv has been struck by a wave of kamikaze drones launched by the Russian army. That's according to the city's mayor. So far, 1 person has died and at least 18 have been injured, with many still trapped under rubble. The attacks rocked the capital early Monday morning, causing fires in some buildings, provoking panic among the population. The targets of the attack are not yet clear. Last week, when Russia resumed its bombing of Kyiv, they hit infrastructure and key electrical installations. The Iranian-made kamikaze drones are loaded with explosives and fly in swarms at low altitudes, making it difficult for anti-aircraft defences. Despite these new tactics, some residents seem unaffected. Asked how many explosions this man heard, he said,
"Don't know, I didn't count. 2 for sure, there was 1 there, 1 more somewhere else. And last week I was also in the centre, and I saw rockets flying."
Kyiv was not the only city targeted in this way. According to the Ukrainian army, 15 kamikaze drones have been destroyed in the south and 3 cruise missiles in the east.
And as a means to end the war in Ukraine, which seems to be affecting the entire world, the European Union says it is ready to send more soldiers to fight for Ukraine in a bid to end the conflict with Russia that has been going on now for more than a year. Once again, let's have more with our overseas partners of Euronews.
The EU's foreign ministers have endorsed several ambitious initiatives for Ukraine following Thursday's meeting. One project will provide military training to some 15,000 Ukrainian soldiers as early as mid-November, primarily in Poland and Germany. Brussels' top diplomat says the mission will help troops defend Ukraine's territorial integrity.
The socio-economic consequences of the war continues. These wars continue sending shockwaves around the world. Russia is more and more isolated. As we could see on the vote last day, in the United Nations. Morally, politically, even military, Russia is losing this war. So we have to continue supporting Ukraine.
Hungary was the only country out of Europe's 27 member states who abstained from the vote.
I would like to point out that Hungary did not vote for this proposal. We were the only ones who used the option of the constructive abstention, which means that we did not prevent the others from launching such a mission. But Hungary does not consider this decision binding. This was made possible by the European Union's legislation. We will not participate in this training mission. Obviously, we will not send trainers, and we will not contribute to the operational costs with our financial resources.
Foreign ministers have also released a new arms package worth €500 million from the European Peace Facility, an off-budget fund for EU defence and military activities. Some €10 million from this budget will be used to supply first aid kits, personal protective gear and fuel.
And viewers, that was what we gathered for you tonight on this edition of the news on Equinoxe Television. We thank you so much for always being faithful. Stay with us. Our programs continue in about an hour. You will be, or in 2 hours, you will be with Julien Bess Beside for the news in the French language, and in about an hour you will be with Serge Alain Woutou for Equinoxe Soir. Stay with us on Equinoxe Television. Bye bye for now.